Felicia Cocotzin Ruiz. Welcome to Chef in the Garden. I'm an Indigenous foods activist, a whole foods chef, a curandera, an author, and a storyteller of wellness. Today I'm going to be making one of the recipes from my book called Nopales Medicine Water. So my family's been on this land for thousands of years, and so we're going to use some ingredients that my grandmothers, my abuelitas, my family has been using for generations and generations. I'm going to be making aguas frescas with nopales. So the real word for this in Nahuatl is nopali, but we call it nopales now, and it's one of our most traditional foods. And if you grew up with Mexican family like I did, you may have been a little embarrassed to eat this because this was kind of the food of the poor people. But this is actually one of the most nutrient-dense foods in all of the world. I love teaching people about this because it's a drought-resistant plant, full of antioxidants, such good fiber. It's good for your stomach, it's good for your poop, it's good for everything. It's good for your skin. It's kind of slimy, and it's one of my favorite foods, and we're going to be using it in the blender because we're making a drink out of it. Most of us have had this mostly like with eggs or chile, but we're going to be preparing it raw because the aguas frescas are freshwater drinks. Unfortunately, they're made with a lot of sugar. So as a curandera, I like to teach people how to make foods not with all of the sugar. So we're going to be using things like honey or maple syrup, and of course, lots of fresh lime. So before you get started and you get your knife out, just make sure that you have an adult helping you because knives are really sharp. All right, so let's get started. We need 1 cup of chopped nopales, which is about 2 of the leaves. Some people call them pads, but I grew up calling them leaves. You don't have to chop them in any specific way. In fact, I was just taught to chop them up very roughly, and my grandma always said to make them about the size of a penny. So I just get my knife and I go through and I just cut them into strips. Now, if you're getting these from your yard, you have to have someone help you because you need to take off all of the spines. They're kind of slimy inside, and when we were little ones, we used to call this slimy goo babas, which if you don't know what that means, it means like baby drool. And the reason why this nopal is so good for your body is because of that drooly sliminess. It helps your blood sugar stay even and balanced. It's really good for your stomach, and a lot of our abuelitas would make this to help us stay well. I'm gonna put that in my blender, and these have already been washed and they've already been cleaned. So I have 1 cup in my blender, and then I'm going to get some ginger and some fresh lime. So for my kitchen, when I use ginger, so long as the ginger is grown without pesticides, I like to just snap off a piece like that. I don't even peel it, and then I just take a little piece like this. That's about 1 inch. And I just cut it, no particular way, and I put it in the blender. The next ingredient is fresh basil, and we're going to go to Mr. Pickle, who's going to show you how to grow the basil for your drink.
Hi, you're going to get a kit today with a plant in it for you to put in the ground or put in a raised garden, and this plant is from the herb family. So this is one of my favorite words. This is herb. You don't pronounce the H if you're in America. If you're in Britain, you pronounce the H, herbs, but it's herbs. These plants are used for flavoring your food. I've got a pot here, and I have some soil. Don't get too crazy if you don't have bag soil someplace. Just try to get something, or just put it in the ground. I'm going to demonstrate planting basil. The plant's going to be in a container like this. You can see the stems right there. I'm just going to try to hold it with my hand under the stem there, just so it doesn't hurt the plant. You can squeeze this a little bit, kind of shake it and loosen it, and there it is. So this is what it looks like upside down. I'm going to flip it over, set it in there. I've got space on the sides, so I'm just going to fill it in right now. On the basil, just keep it moist. Don't drown it, but keep it moist. Good luck.
Thank you, Mr. Pickle. You can use any kind of basil. This one smells like Italian sweet basil. So I'm going to put this in my blender, and then I'm adding 4 cups of filtered water. Now I just have 2 more things to add. I'm going to be adding a lime. If you don't have a lime, you could use an orange, you could use a lemon, you could even use a grapefruit. And I like to roll it like this to get all of the juices to break up so it juices easier. You can use a juicer like this. And we're just gonna squeeze that in there. Now, if you've never had raw nopales before, it kind of tastes like you're eating a raw green bean, but when you add the basil and the lime and the ginger, it makes it taste a little bit less bitter. So for the recipe, you can add honey or maple syrup. We have some delicious looking mesquite honey. It's local honey. And we're just going to put a drizzle. I'm not putting this whole thing in there. So that's 1 spoonful. Now, if you like things spicy like I do, and you have an extra jalapeno in your kitchen, you can even add that, and this will be really good. Okay, so now we're gonna go ahead and turn the blender on. So I have a little glass of ice, and I'm going to pour myself a cup. This is not something that you want to drink every day, maybe once or twice a week. Taste it. Provechito.